In April 2025, the world's largest trade route hit an unexpected standstill.
Chinese goods, they're being imposed a tariff of up to 145%. Now, what we know this time is that the Chinese government has asked its carriers to stop taking delivery of Boeing aircraft in the meantime, and this extends to aircraft-related equipment and parts from US companies. Now, this order came last week, just as China retaliated on the US with tariffs of 125%, and for the airlines, it makes the economics of buying an aircraft more challenging. It doubles the cost, frankly, and we have heard these warnings from a number of airlines globally, from Delta to Ryanair recently, about the warnings of aircraft deliveries being delayed. But in this case, for China, given this rapidly evolving trade war dispute, we don't know yet if any of these positions would change in the next week or two or longer. We have seen, for example, Donald Trump's position on Apple iPhones, for example, change.
The United States imposed a 145% tariff on over $320 billion worth of Chinese goods, triggering a domino effect across global supply chains. Within a matter of days, cargo traffic at Shanghai and Guangdong ports plummeted by over 10%. Amazon and Five Below canceled shipments totaling $2.5 billion. Boeing stock slipped 3.2% overnight, wiping out more than $8 billion in market value as China froze aircraft deliveries. Over 55 newly built Boeing jets, worth nearly $15 billion, were grounded without a destination. Meanwhile, essential components, wiring harnesses, sensors, battery systems, critical for electric vehicles and consumer electronics, saw price surges of 18% to 25% within just 2 weeks. Across ports and production lines, a global traffic jam has begun. And with each passing week of stalled shipments, U.S. manufacturing could lose up to $1.2 billion in output. This isn't just a trade dispute anymore. It's a full-blown reset of global commerce, and it's only the beginning. Here are 5 brutal consequences shaking the U.S. economy, and why the worst may be yet to come. Number 5, turbocharged tariffs, a trade war like no other. In early April 2025, the United States fired a shot heard around the world, a 145% tariff slapped across $320 billion of Chinese goods. It wasn't just the scale that shocked industries, it was the speed and the sheer scope. Unlike previous tariff rounds during the 2018 to 2019 trade wars, which targeted specific sectors like steel and aluminum, this time consumer goods, industrial parts, electronics, and critical manufacturing inputs were hit all at once. No sector was safe. Immediately, port records in Shanghai and Guangdong, gateways handling over 30% of China's global exports, showed a dramatic 10.4% drop in container traffic. It was a gut punch not just for exporters, but for U.S. businesses that had grown dependent on efficient, low-cost Chinese supply chains. Amazon canceled over $2.5 billion in purchase orders within days. Five Below slashed sourcing deals and pivoted emergency sourcing to Vietnam and Malaysia at much higher costs. Analysts at Goldman Sachs warned that tariffs would push U.S. core inflation up by 0.7% within 6 months if disruptions persisted. In 2020, the pandemic showed how vulnerable supply chains could be. But this was self-inflicted turbulence on an unprecedented scale. And as ships sat motionless, the economic gears that once hummed smoothly began to grind to a halt. We're just getting started. If you want real, no-fluff insights like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe for more deep dives. Number 4, ports jammed. The $15 billion traffic jam. Within 2 weeks, the aftershocks rippled to shipping terminals across the Pacific. For the first time since the COVID-19 pandemic, no vessels were scheduled to depart from key Chinese ports to the United States for multiple consecutive days, an eerie and alarming sign. In Shanghai's Yangshan port alone, an estimated $6.2 billion worth of goods sat immobile. Warehouses brimmed with untouched cargo, automotive electronics, smart appliances, consumer tech ready for U.S. holiday sales. Meanwhile, U.S. ports like Los Angeles and Long Beach faced a ghost town scenario. Instead of congestion, they faced emptiness. Canceled ship arrivals down 38% year-over-year, according to port tracker data. The cost of shipping a container from East Asia to the U.S. West Coast surged from $1,800 to over $2,600, according to Drewry World Shipping Index, a 45% spike in less than a month. The just-in-time inventory model, hailed for decades as a marvel of modern logistics, suddenly revealed its greatest weakness. When everything depends on everything else arriving exactly on time, one break in the chain means systemic collapse. But while goods idled on docks, a far greater casualty loomed overhead, one that symbolized America's global industrial might. Number 3. Boeing grounded, and export powerhouse stumbles. Within hours of the tariff escalation, Beijing delivered a devastating blow to American aerospace. Boeing aircraft deliveries were suspended indefinitely. Over 55 completed jets, worth nearly $15 billion, sat idle in hangars, unwanted by China's booming airlines that had accounted for nearly 25% of Boeing's international sales in 2024. The stock market reacted immediately. Boeing's share price dropped 3.2% overnight. More than $8 billion in market value evaporated. But the impact stretched far beyond Boeing itself. The aerospace sector supports an estimated 1.6 million jobs in the United States, from parts suppliers to avionics tech firms to ground support crews. Every canceled jet order sends shockwaves across hundreds of subcontractors in states like Washington, Kansas, and South Carolina. And Boeing's woes signal a deeper vulnerability. Advanced industries, once thought untouchable, are now exposed in trade conflicts. It's not just planes that won't take off. Satellites, military drones, EV battery modules, all interlinked in the complex dance of U.S.-China trade. And while Boeing struggled to stay airborne, the electric future was quietly hitting a wall of its own. Number 2, EV supply chain shatters, future on hold. If you thought the EV boom was unstoppable, think again. Electric vehicles depend on critical parts sourced overwhelmingly from China. Lithium-ion batteries, 74% of global supply, rare earth magnets, advanced semiconductor chips. With tariffs inflating part costs by 18% to 25% overnight and shipping lanes blocked, the U.S. auto industry ground to a painful slowdown. Ford Motor Company announced in May 2025 that key models, including the Mach-E and F-150 Lightning, would face 3 to 6 month delivery delays. Tesla warned that entry-level Model 2 production would be significantly impacted unless alternative sourcing could be secured. EV startup Rivian slashed its 2025 delivery forecast by 15%. Meanwhile, the price of raw lithium, already strained by mining bottlenecks, jumped another 22% within weeks as stockpiles ran thin. Consumer-facing consequences arrived swiftly. EV prices rose by an estimated $2,500 to $4,000 per unit. Wait lists for popular models ballooned to 8 to 12 months. And with federal EV tax credits already shrinking under new policy thresholds, sticker shock is hitting buyers harder than ever. The dream of mass-market, affordable EVs is suddenly being deferred, at precisely the moment when global climate targets demand rapid adoption. But even this disruption pales next to the tectonic shifts beginning to redraw the very rules of global trade itself. Number 1, global decoupling. The Great Reset begins. At its heart, this isn't just a supply chain disruption. It's a global economic divorce. The United States is accelerating friendshoring, moving production away from China toward allies like Mexico, Vietnam, and India. The CHIPS Act and Inflation Reduction Act, backed by over $350 billion in funding, represent an aggressive bid to reclaim industrial sovereignty. China, for its part, is racing to shore up internal demand, deepen ties with ASEAN, the Middle East, and Africa, and push the Belt and Road Initiative into overdrive. The result? A fragmentation of what was once seamless globalization into competing economic blocs. Analysts from McKinsey estimate that by 2030, Trade between China and the U.S. could fall by nearly 40%, replaced by regional supply chains clustered around geopolitical alliances. For consumers, this reality will bring permanent changes: higher prices for technology and vehicles, longer production cycles, increased regional disparities in product availability. The convenience and affordability built by 30 years of globalization are giving way to a new era of economic nationalism, where resilience trumps efficiency and survival trumps speed. And this new world, it's already taking shape, faster than most realize. The jammed shipping lanes, grounded jets, and crippled EV supply chains are just the surface cracks of a much deeper fault line. We're not just watching isolated market turbulence, we're witnessing the unraveling of a global system built over decades, a system now being torn apart by tariffs, trade wars, and strategic decoupling. For businesses, this means rewriting decades-old playbooks. For consumers, it means adjusting to a new normal of higher prices, longer waits, and fewer choices. And for governments, it signals a future where economic alliances may matter as much as, or even more than, military ones. The real question isn't whether this shift will happen. It's how fast and who will adapt quickly enough to thrive in the new era. So now I want to hear from you. Is this the necessary price of protecting national interests? Or are we stumbling into a global economic Cold War without fully understanding the costs? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. We read every one. And if you want real-world updates, deep dives, and breakdowns you won't find anywhere else, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to the channel. Thanks for riding along with us. This is just the beginning. Rocket